Kayla Hodgson was from Florida, while Sakiyna Thompson was from New York. They were from two different worlds. They had two different lives with nothing in common. Nothing except an alleged scammer boyfriend who allegedly dated them both. Kayla Hodgson was a flight attendant and a bartender who was considered bright, beautiful, and full of life by her many friends and family. She was focused and driven, holding down two jobs and socializing less than most 23-year-olds. She loved fashion and always dressed to impress. She had no shortage of male suitors who wanted to keep her company. She was only 23, but had a good income. She had a bright future and was doing very well for herself. It is alleged that around this time, she started dating a young scammer who was making a great deal of money with his crimes. He was from New York and traveled frequently to Florida to see her. They met through social media and became an item quickly. They spent quite a bit of time together despite the distance between them. With her busy work schedule, she always looked forward to seeing him on her days off. He made his own schedule, so it worked well. Kayla didn't know that her self-employed boyfriend had another woman who was pregnant by him. She had seen recent posts of them together on social media, but he had told her that they were no longer together and that he had stopped seeing her. He assured Kayla that he was done with his ex. Kayla gave him the benefit of the doubt and trusted him. They continued to see each other and became very close. Kayla was loyal to him and saw no one else. He was the love of her life, but the feeling wasn't mutual. He was still with his ex after all. He had lied to Kayla. In fact, they had never broken up. They were expecting a child in 4 months. She wasn't his ex in any way. They were very much still a couple. Sakiyna was 28 years old. She was considered beautiful, outspoken, and strong-willed. She had a temper and sometimes lost her cool, it is alleged. She was adored by her family and siblings as well as her many friends. She was a nail tech in NYC. She made good money and had many clients. She was also a makeup expert with years of experience. She had been living with the unnamed scammer for a number of years and grew quite attached to him. They had met at a wedding reception and clicked right away. Sakiyna was attracted to his swag and confidence, as well as his obvious financial independence. When he wasn't away on business, they would be together all the time since he made his own schedule. He took her on shopping sprees and bought her lavish gifts. She frequently posted videos of the high-end purses and boots she would receive from him when he returned from his business trips. He bought her really nice gifts and showered her with attention and affection. It made Sakiyna feel secure in their relationship. She felt assured that he was serious about her and committed to their future. Sakiyna was looking forward to their first child together and was proud of their little family. She was loyal to him and saw no one else. She loved him, and he was the love of her life. Unfortunately, the feeling wasn't mutual. He had another woman in Florida. One night, Sakiyna discovered a text conversation in his phone with Kayla. Sakiyna did her research and soon found out who Kayla was and where she lived. She learned that her boyfriend planned to leave her to go and be with Kayla. She was faced with the realization that she could be losing her boyfriend just as their baby was born. She didn't want to be left alone as he moved on to another woman. She had grown accustomed to the lifestyle that he provided for her. She knew it would be different if he left. She knew that she had to prevent the breakup of her home. Sakiyna decided to do the unthinkable. Even though she was 5.5 months pregnant, she flew to Florida and went to Kayla's house. Allegedly, she knocked on the door, and when Kayla opened it, she harmed Kayla with a knife to the neck and chest. She then took a shower and changed into some of Kayla's clothes before leaving for a flight right back to New York. She cleaned up the scene of the crime to make sure she left none of her DNA behind. She wiped away her fingerprints. She took the bloody clothes with her on the plane. She carried them in a small suitcase wrapped in a plastic bag. Later that day, a coworker who couldn't get in contact with Kayla asked for a wellness check, and 911 was called to report an unresponsive woman who had been found in her apartment on the floor. That woman was Kayla Hodgson. She was pronounced unalive at the scene of the crime by paramedics. Friends and family were shocked that such a kind and peaceful soul would meet with such an end. Police classified it a homicide, but had no leads or clues. There were no witnesses. Sakiyna made it back to NYC and continued her life as a nail tech and makeup expert. It was as if nothing had happened. With no leads or suspects, the case went cold right away. A reward was offered for any info, but no calls came in. But the investigation was at a standstill. Police were in the dark. Sakiyna had gotten away with her crime at first.
We begin with a one and only exclusive. Only Local 10 is speaking with a family friend of a homicide victim.
23-year-old Kayla Hodgson was found dead in an apartment in Tamarack about a week ago. And Local 10's Hatzel Vela joining us live with what she had to say about this. Hatzel?
So, Christy, this is a family that's still planning a funeral, still grieving, still wondering why anyone would do this.
She was bright, she was beautiful, she was everybody's hype man.
It's been slightly more than a week since Kayla Hodgson was murdered.
Her life was gone way too soon.
Today, Local 10 talks to a friend of the family. Her loved ones remain too heartbroken to speak.
We love her, we miss her, we know we are praying for justice.
Let's take you back to earlier this month, July 13th. That's when family and friends tell us 23-year-old Kayla was found dead in her Tamarack apartment. Up to this point, the Broward Sheriff's Office has only revealed few details about what happened. Someone, they say, found Kayla unresponsive that afternoon. The bartender was pronounced dead on the scene.
The caller said that there's a gash on the patient's neck. It looks like someone slashed her neck.
Radio calls paint a grim picture of how she was found.
The unknown is driving us crazy. You know, we don't know who did this. We don't know why you would do this.
But the detectives continued to investigate, and after digging through Kayla's phone records, they were able to connect Sakiyna to the unnamed and alleged scammer after finding his number in both Kayla's call log and hers. The detectives were able to establish the love triangle, and they quickly see that Sakiyna had been in Florida at the exact time of the attack and had returned back to NYC right after. They were able to uncover the plane tickets and also footage from the airport that showed Sakiyna traveling to and from the attack. Once she was indicted by a grand jury, a warrant was issued for Sakiyna, and she was arrested by NYPD. Once in custody, she was extradited back to Broward County, Florida, to face trial for the murder of Kayla Hodgson.
New details tonight on an arrest in New York City. This after a young woman was killed last month inside her apartment in Tamarack. The Broward Sheriff's Office announced that the suspect, Sakiyna Thompson, is now in custody. CBS 4's Peter Dinch joins us live from the Tamarack Village complex with the very latest on this story. Peter.
Well, Naja, BSO says that the suspect was arrested in a neighborhood in Queens. That was 3 weeks after the homicide here. It's also where residents are relieved.
I feel terribly bad that that happened to her.
Shayla Hernandez was horrified by the murder of her neighbor, identified by friends and family members as 23-year-old Kayla Hodgson, seen here and in photos in a post from loved ones on a fundraising website. BSO says they responded to Hodgson's second-floor apartment on July 13th after a 911 call about an unresponsive woman. They say they discovered that Hodgson died at the scene here at the Tamarack Village complex. On July 25th, a warrant was issued for 28-year-old Sakiyna Thompson. She was arrested on Wednesday in New York City.
Making an arrest makes me feel a lot more comfortable.
BSO is not saying what led them to their suspect, but an arrest affidavit says Sakiyna Thompson was demonstrating a depraved mind without regard for human life by stabbing with a sharp object with a premeditated intent to cause death.
I am very happy to hear about it because we were scared. We heard different stories from different people, and I happen to live on the floor above her, so I'm very happy. It makes me feel a lot better and more secure that they finally arrested somebody.
BSO has not said what the motive was. It's not clear when Thompson will be extradited. Right now, she is charged with first-degree murder. We are live in Tamarack. Peter Dinch, CBS 4 News.
She was issued no bond because she was considered a flight risk. She pleaded not guilty at her arraignment. She is currently incarcerated and awaiting trial. Her case is still pending.